أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين وبعد. Respected brothers and sisters, مرحبا بكم جميعا. Welcome. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We are in one of our weekly hadith lessons from Riyadh al-Salihin, inshallah, where today, bi'idhnillah, we are carrying on from where we left off last week, which is chapter number 298. But before we start today, we have young guests sitting right at the front. What's your name again? Remind me? Salahuddin. Do you want to recite a surah for us? Come. Make sacrifice. Come all the way at the beginning. Inshallah, you start off with Surah Fatiha, whichever surah you like. Let's go for Fatiha.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
ما شاء الله. جزاك الله خير. شكرا. صلاح الدين أيوبي. May Allah make you like Sheikh Imam al-Sheikh Sultan Salahuddin Ayyubi, who was the victorious, the struggle in the path of Allah, the leader, the Qa'id, the leader of the Ummah, yes, and the one who brought victory to Palestine and saved Masjid al-Aqsa from the hands of the Crusaders. May Allah make you like him of our time. Say Ameen, Ya Rab, Ya Rab, Ya Rab, Ya Rab. Inshallah, today's chapter begins with prohibition of using the right hand for cleaning after urination or the call of nature, which is to do with, of course, using the bathroom. That we shouldn't use the right hand, we should use the left hand, and the prohibition of using the right hand, and so on. So this is important because previously in the previous hadith we learned how important it is to eat and drink with the right hand, and here we're learning how with the same hand we should not be using for istinja or for cleansing ourselves after relieving oneself. And this is, subhanAllah, the beauty of Islam, the hygiene of Islam, long before people even developed soaps or had the culture of having regular showers and baths in these lands. SubhanAllah, our sunnah taught us that we should have at least minimum, we should bathe and shower once in a week on Yawm al-Jumu'ah. And of course, if it happens to be Eid, then more than once in a week. Whereas at that time, where water was a scarcity in those desert lands, where people would remain, not having a shower, not cleansing themselves for weeks, for months maybe. And the only baths people are having in these countries were the public baths, where everyone would go and bathe themselves together, and it's not hygienic at all. Alhamdulillah ala ni'mat al-Islam, which is the perfect, pure guidance for dunya and akhirah. And Allah Azza wa Jalla said in the Quran, Inna Allah yuhibbu at-tawwabin wa yuhibbu al-mutatahhirin. Allah loves those who do purification and cleanse themselves, and those who do tawbah and mutatahhirin. And the Prophet ﷺ said, At-tahuru shatrul iman, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that cleanliness and purity is a part and a half of iman. Half of iman, a part of iman. So the first hadith says 1648 عن أبي قتادة رضي الله عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال إذا بال أحدكم فلا يأخذن ذكره بيمينه ولا يستنجي بيمينه ولا يتنفس في الإناء. Abu Qatada رضي الله عنه وأرضاه narrated that the Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم, please say صلى الله عليه وسلم whenever you hear the Prophet's name, because with every single salam that you send, Allah will send to you 10 times as much salams. And the Prophet ﷺ will respond to your salam, especially on this layla of Jumu'ah. And the Prophet ﷺ said, do not touch your area, your sharam, your private areas, with your right hand after urinating, no after cleansing yourself from number two, if you like, or from stool, and do not breathe into the drinking vessel from which you drink. SubhanAllah, look at long before we had microscopes and the bacteria. Like, for example, the viruses and the bacteria that transfer from the breath and etc. Right? And during the Corona time, we had all of this restrictions in the mask and etc. Because from person's breath to breath, and if they sneeze, they have to do in the arm and etc. Subhanallah, long time ago, our Prophet ﷺ is teaching this to us. Where? In a desert. In desert, where there is no such norm, no such culture, far from it. Far from it. People would be, like we said before, not washing themselves for months. And the Prophet ﷺ is teaching us such hygiene. And if you are going to cleanse yourself, then let it be with the left hand. Of course, using whatever equipment, whatever item you use for cleansing, whether it be a stone, whether it be a piece of mud, whether it be water, all of it should be done with the left hand. Right? And whether it's number one or number two. And of course, breathing. When you breathe inside the vessel, all of this you should not be breathing into the vessel that you drink from. This is also, in addition, we take from this that when you, for example, have the habit of having tea or having food, what do? We blow into it. Same hadith applies. That we should not blow into the vessel from which you drink. Okay? Now this is of course applicable for your own drinking vessels, your own cup, your own glass, your own food, but even more so if you are sharing with others. Even more so if you're sharing with others. You should not be breathing into the food if 2 or 3 people are going to share. And of course, the norm of that time of the Prophet ﷺ was that they would share from the same meal. Ya ghulam, sammillah, wa kul biyaminik, wa kul mimma yalik. The hadith says, where the Prophet ﷺ was instructing one of the younger Sahaba that, oh young man, sammillah, say bismillah, eat with your right hand and eat from that which is nearest to you. Meaning don't go and start taking it from left and right, eat from that which is close to you. Of course, if the items are scattered and in different dishes, you are allowed to, of course, ask for them to be brought closer to you and like that. But the point is, especially when you're sharing a meal with others, you do not blow into that. It's very important, and it makes perfect sense when you look at it from a hygiene, from a biology, from the microbiology, whatever you want to call it, all right, perspective, when the bacteria and etc. Undesirability of wearing one shoe or one sock, or to put one shoe or sock while standing unnecessarily. Previous chapter gave us an introduction to this. What was that? The chapter said that we are prohibited from following the manners of who? Of shaitan and disbelievers. We don't follow the ways of shaitan or the disbelievers. We've mentioned some of the things to do with disbelievers previously, right? About the wigs and dyeing in a particular color and etc. Here you will find a chapter which may seem peculiar to you, but it's from the chapter, from the bab of prohibition of appearing or behaving like shaitan. Shaitan, supposedly, according to the hadith, is not supposedly, sorry. Shaitan walks with one foot and stands on one foot. Stands on one foot and eats with his left hand and drinks with his left hand. And yes, they do eat and drink. As you know, the shayateen, the jinn, they eat and drink. Right? And they also stand and they walk and they sit in their own ways. At times which are different from ours, generally speaking at the night time. So the point is, we are not allowed to follow the actions of shaitan, especially that which the Prophet ﷺ explicitly told us that this is from the actions of shaitan, so do not follow it. What is it? 1649. عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لا يمشي أحدكم في نعل واحدة لينعلهما جميعا أو ليخلعهما جميعا أو في رواية أو ليحفهما جميعا أو ليحفهما جميعا, which is Sayyiduna Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu warda narrated that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, none of you should walk wearing one shoe. You should either wear them both or take them both off. And the explanation of the hadith is that this is because that's the appearance of shaitan. Now, this is not talking about when you are putting one shoe on and then you are at the same time putting the next one on immediately, because it's quite impossible for you to wear both shoes at the same time. It's natural that you'll wear one, the right foot first and the left foot second. We are talking about wearing one shoe and just taking your time and making it a norm, or going out like that. Or if you, for example, happen to only have one shoe and lost the other one and you need to walk home, what do? Do you walk one foot like that and you jump all the way along? No. What you should do is borrow someone else's sandal. If that's not the case, then you should, if need be, walk barefoot. You either wear them both or you take them both off. In the case of extreme necessity, where for example it's icy outside, or for example it's scorching heat outside, and you have no other solution, then you may wear a cloth or something like that around your feet. But the point is, the Prophet ﷺ is telling us that if you are going to take a significant amount of time, then you should either wear both shoes, both socks, or take them both off, not have one on only. Why? Because this is from the amal of shaitan, which we're not supposed to follow. Right, so this is very, very important. There's a very delicate mas'ala that comes. Very delicate mas'ala comes, and I want to indicate it here now. We know that all actions are based upon intentions. Correct? If someone says to you, we're not allowed to follow the kuffar, the disbelievers, in their ways, and so therefore we shouldn't do it. Someone comes along and says, I never had the intention of following them. I never had the intention of following them. Okay? It was just like that. This is the excuse they're giving. I never had the intention of following them. It just happened to be that I'm wearing it. For example, clothing, right? Clothing. There was before, now everyone's kind of mixed. Everyone wears the same kind of clothes around the world, which is the Western clothes. It's become a norm. It's become Western and Eastern now. Right? So it's quite hard to say that this is the clothing of only the disbelievers. But argument's sake, if there was a clothing at the time when, for example, post-colonial period, there was a big movement after the occupation of the British Raj in the India, right, where those who rebelled against the British occupation, they decided to not just take off the British clothing and the British jackets and the British garments, they decided to even burn them as an expression of revolution and rejection of their Western standards, Western fashion style, and Western everything. They wanted them out, go away, we want nothing to do with you. Someone may say, I am not trying to follow the disbelievers, this is not my intention. Khalas. A person may be able to get away with that statement, saying that I am not following them, that's not my intention. However, if this particular action, or if this particular clothing, or if this particular thing that you're wearing is only khas for the disbelievers, for example, a Muslim wearing a cross, can you wear a cross and say, it's not my intention, I'm just wearing it for fashion sense, because my icon and my idol, my fashion sensation wears it? La wallah, you can't. Because this cross is a physical display, it's a logo, it's a symbol of kufr and shirk. So you cannot wear that. And whether you intend through it kufr or not, this is a symbol of kufr, so you can't wear it. Same thing if someone wanted to wear an idol of Radha or Krishna or Buddha or whatever you call him, right? You can't say my intention is just fat. No, it's not acceptable. This excuse is not acceptable because it's specifically only for them. Does that make sense? But certain things has become uniform among Muslims and non-Muslims. For example, we all wear jackets. Sometimes you're wearing the same jacket as the jacket, the hat, and the t-shirts. So this has become shared values, if you like. But certain things are still specific to them. Behavior specific to them. Doing this to an idol. Going down on the floor and prostrating to another human being. This, of course, there's no way about it. But even it was something to do with behavior, some sort of dress sense. Right? Someone decides to wear a collar like the Christian priest. You know the Christian priest? No, I'm just wearing it for fashion sense. No, this is not going to be accepted because it's specifically for the Christian priest and no one else wears it. So when you wear it, it's symbolic to Christianity. Right? Same thing for Judaism. If you are following something from Judaism specifically to them, then intention here is clear from your action. Where there is vagueness, the intention is applicable. Here the Prophet ﷺ is telling us specifically, walking on one foot is a clear action of shaitan. No one else does it. Does anyone else walk with one foot? Don't tell me when someone's got a broken leg, so you have to wear crutches. Of course we're not talking about that. Crutches and broken leg, this is separate. We're talking about when someone has both feet, both legs, both shoes, both socks, and they decide to walk on one foot. So does the mas'ala make sense? When something is clearly symbolic to a particular party, a particular group we're not supposed to be following, then here you can't say I had intention otherwise. Because this is a clear action, behavior, clothing of that party that we're not supposed to follow. Disbelievers and shaitan. But where there are shared things, for example, we all wear mobile phones, we use mobile phones, we all wear jackets, we all wear shoes, trainers, etc. So don't say now this is tashabbaha biqawmin. Whoever is following the example of another nation. No, we're not. This has become a shared value now. Amma bihil balwa, everyone wears the same thing when it comes to shoes, trainers, jackets, etc. Even headwear, caps. Muslims wear caps. Why? Because it protects you from the sun. You can't say the baseball cap is only for the disbelievers. Does anyone say that? Would that statement seem logical to you if I was to say that the baseball cap or the cap is only iconic or symbolic to disbelievers? No, of course not, because it's a sunshade and it's everyone wears it. 1650 عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول إذا انقطع شسع نعل أحدكم فلا يمشي في الأخرى حتى يصلحها. Sayyidina Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu narrated, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam narrated, I heard the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, when the lace of one of the shoes of any of you is cut off, he should not walk with the other one until he has got the lace repaired. So even if it is damaged, you should wear only. You should take them both off, borrow someone else's shoe. Here's a masala that not a lot of people don't know. But then again, at the same time, we live in the West, so usually people have 1, 2, 3 pair of shoes, so it's rare. Of course, we're talking in situations where most will just have one shoe, just one pair of na'al. عن جابر رضي الله عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم نهى أن ينتعل الرجل قائما. Jabir radiallahu anhu narrated the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam forbade a person wearing and tying up his shoe while standing. So what do we do now? This hadith particularly, where there is the possibility of you to sit down with your shoes, especially when there is risk of tripping and falling over, harming others, harming yourself, we should follow. In fact, even in the masjid, when you're escaping the masjid, when you're leaving the masjid, where and when possible, you should try to kneel and wear shoes. Especially those which require laces. Otherwise, what happens is, I'm going to stand up and show you. If you're wearing sandals, khalas, bismillah, done. But if you're wearing shoes in the traditional sense, which are, in today's example, will be the boots, the Wellington boots, or the other boots that require for you to lace them, like the Timberlands, then that takes some time. As for the elasticated laces, this is a modern phenomenon. So if you have elasticated shoes or shoes that you can wear quickly, khalas, you put it on, you move on. But in the case where you will take some time to put your shoes on, whether it be the laced Timberlands or otherwise, then you should sit down. Why? For your own safety. For you not to trip over. Furthermore, you're bent over like this, and the Prophet ﷺ forbade it. Ultimately, the illah and the reason is for it to be disliked is that the Prophet ﷺ clearly forbade it. So what's the khulasa? What's the summary? The summary is those shoes which you can put on quickly, la bas. You wear it and you move on. It's not taking any time. As for the shoes that have laces that take some time for you to put on, then you should sit down for them. Whether you sit down on the floor or you sit down on a chair, you should sit down on something. Does that make sense? Barakallahu fikum jami'an. Right, so prohibition of leaving the fire or light burning when retiring, meaning when going to sleep. باب النهي عن ترك النار في البيت عند النوم ونحوه سواء كانت في سراج أو غيره. This is again health and safety. What does the fireman say to you? Don't leave a burning fire. Don't leave a fire alight. This is a common practice. Don't leave the heating etc. on if you're going to go out for a long time, because it's a waste of energy, health and safety. Something might explode, might be a gas leak. Even today when I was leaving the home, we have the dryer, the clothes dryer, and I was about to leave it on, and then the missus says, don't leave it on, turn it off when you come back on and put it on. She's probably saying it for energy saving intentions, but ultimately this is the right thing to do, right? Because it's leaving the electricity running, and Allahu A'lam, what can happen in your absence. Turning off is safe, isn't it? If you're at home and if there's electricity, whatever, some sort of a fire, small one, you can quickly extinguish it. But if you're absent, khalas, the whole house is gone. Does that make sense? And especially when you're sleeping. I know a story when someone left a, mashallah, romantic candle on, and it became too romantic in the night time, the whole house was on fire. So, you know, this is not, again, the Prophet ﷺ gave us sound advice and perfect instruction. عن ابن عمر رضي الله عنهما عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لا تتركوا النار في بيوتكم حين تنامون. Clear. Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Umar رضي الله عنه أرضاه narrated that the Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم has said, do not keep the fire burning in your homes when you go to bed. Any sort of fire, turn it off. Okay? If you happen to be in an extreme cold scenario and you must leave the heater on, okay, in a safe way, the central heating system is quite safe. There are safety measures put into place. It will automatically turn off if it gets overheated. These are fine. These are fine. And this is not, again, it's not an open fire. Whereas leaving an open fire on when you're going to sleep, then this should be avoided. This should be avoided. If there was a case of extreme necessity, if you're living in an igloo in the North Pole or in Antarctica, and you have to leave some sort of fire, then khalas, this is to save your life. Whenever there is darura, and even that which is forbidden becomes halal. Ad-daruratu, as you know, tubihul mahdurat. When something is very, very necessity, then even that which is forbidden will become a necessity. We'll have to do it. Okay, but this is talking about in general senses. Unnecessarily, we should not leave a fire on. Furthermore, there's also a further clarity on it. It says, fi buyutikum, in your houses. So what about if you go to camping? What about if you're sleeping outside? So, from what it seems like, let's inshallah read the rest of the hadith inshallah. For it to be outside, where there is no warmth around you, there are no walls to protect you, then this nahi is not directed towards that, because fi buyutikum, in your homes, and that is outside in the open. 1653 عن أبي موسى الأشعري رضي الله عنه قال احترق بيت بالمدينة على أهله من الليل فلما حدث رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بشأنهم قال إن هذه النار عدو لكم فإذا نمتم فأطفئوها. Abu Musa al-Ash'ari radiallahu anhu narrated that a house in Medina was burnt with its occupants inside it one night. When this was reported to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, fire is your enemy, so put it out before going to bed. Fire is your enemy, meaning fire will be the cause of punishment, and fire is that from which shaitan and the jinn was created. 1653 عن جابر رضي الله عنه عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال غطوا الإناء وأوكئوا السقاء وأغلقوا الأبواب وأطفئوا السراج فإن الشيطان لا يحل سقاء ولا يفتح بابا ولا يكشف إناء فإن لم يجد أحدكم إلا أن يعرض على إنائه عودا ويذكر اسم الله فليفعل فإن الفويسقة تضرم على أهل البيت بيتهم. Jabir radiallahu anhu narrated the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, cover up the kitchen containers, i.e. the pots and pans which have food inside it. Don't leave them open. You know, for those of you who are married, you know that you're always getting told off. Why didn't you cover the chicken curry after you ate from it? Why didn't you cover the rice after you ate from it? Why didn't you cover? This is of course your wife telling you, but this is also the Prophet ﷺ is telling you that we should cover up the kitchen containers and our food stuff after we've used it. Tie up the mouth of the water skin, close it, close the bottle lid, lock up the doors. Lock up the doors when you go to sleep, when it's night time, when it's needed. Extinguish the lamps, take the lamps off and turn them off, because shaitan can neither untie the water skin, nor open the door, nor uncover the container. You know, we say all the time, you know, even in the recent khutbah, some people think shaitan is so powerful. Look, shaitan can't even untie the container, untie the finger, the knot, or take off the lid of a container. Allah didn't give him that power. Whereas Ifritun min al-Jinn was able to carry the whole throne and the castle of the Sheba, of Saba, from Yemen to Bayt al-Maqdis within 1 second, less than a second. But they don't have the authority and the power to. The shaitan doesn't have the authority and the power to, the permission to, the ability to open a lid, untie a bottle, the water, untie the bottle lid or a water skin. Nor does he have the right to or the power to open and unlock a door or to restart a fire if it's been extinguished. Because shaitan can neither untie the water skin, nor open the door, nor uncover the containers. If one can cover the cooking pot even by placing a piece of wood across it and pronounce the name of Allah, then let him do it. A mouse can sometimes cause a house to burn along with its dwellers. And there is a special mas'ala with the mice. Because it is narrated that when Sayyiduna Ibrahim ﷺ was being burned, okay, and the fire was being ignited or they were trying to burn him, and the fire was being ignited. Everything around it was trying to extinguish that fire out of obedience to Allah, except for the fuwaysiqa, except for the mouse who was blowing into it to ignite it further. So mice, rodents, aren't your friends. We have a historic enmity with the mice. They should be. They are not allowed in the Prophet ﷺ, for example, allowed for us to have what? Cats. What do cats do? Tom and Jerry. Cats are a deterrent from mice. We're not supposed to be comfortable or living with mice and rats and etc. So it's very unfortunate that Muslim communities and areas, there are many infestations of mice and rats. This is not right. This is against hygiene. And so the Prophet ﷺ has allowed for us to kill it, cleanse our whole house from it. And here he's saying that even a mice with its naughty behavior, tripping over a lamp onto the ground and etc., running around in crazy manners that they do, can cause a whole house to burn up. So that's a separate discussion as to why there is a special discussion and the theme around the mice and the rats. But the point is we're supposed to have clear precautions against such rodents and such unhygienic behavior. And guess what? How do mice infestations happen? When you leave food open, containers open. And I've had to experience it the hard way. In our house, subhanallah, this is why you should follow hygiene instructions. What was I trying to do? Subhanallah, sometimes food was being overcooked too much, or sometimes there was some, bread, hard bits are left over, no one wants to have them. I don't know what's wrong with us. Some of us are very spoiled. King's meal, hard bit of the bread. Ya akhi, this is softer than any bread the Prophet ﷺ has ever had, or the Sahaba. Yeah, they used to have within their bread grains and never did he have a single piece of soft loaf of bread in the entire life of the Prophet ﷺ. Can you imagine this? And we're so spoiled that we get the king's meal of the whole bread and inside we have to trim off. Oh, it's not nice because it's too soft. So anyway, so no one wants to have it. So what happens? Some of it was remaining. So what I thought, I don't want to waste it. I'll put it in the garden so the birds will come and eat it. But subhanallah, birds didn't just come and eat it. Soon Mr. Fox came. And there were so many foxes in the garden. And soon after that, the mice started to come. And then they started to follow the path and they started to come inside the house. They came inside the house, ya akhi, the mouse came. And I'm telling you, I'll be sitting there, reading a book or something, or whatever, and you would just see the guy just walking around like, at least have some, be a bit discreet. First it was discreet, but then it became normal. So I thought, let me try and fill up the gaps. It didn't work. I had to call the specialists. They came 3 different times with poison and etc. And they had to use so much, they had to fill up all the gaps, and then they eventually managed to get rid of the infestation. And this was around springtime, like March time. So it was fine. But summer came, and I decided to go and clean up the shed. I want to clean up the shed, ya akhi. I'm telling you, there are kids here, it was bad, man. The whole shed was filled up with rat excrement, and it was, some of them were dead and rotten, and it was bad. Like, I had to clean it all up. Can you imagine? So the point is, where did it start from? From leaving food unattended, from not tying up the containers, from being excessive. This is the fact that the Prophet ﷺ, everything in his sunnah is consistent. Don't leave the water skin untied. Don't leave the food containers uncovered. If you don't cover them up and securely put it away, you will find that they're trying to nibble off of it, and etc. And then the fuwaisiqa, how accurate is that? It's literally chronological order of events. The mouse comes and it causes problems. Subhanallah. I'll tell you another story, and I will end it. This is today, inshallah. Beloved brothers and sisters, wallahi, hygiene is from the central elements of our deen. Cleanliness. I went to a chicken and chip shop not too long ago. I'm not going to say which one because you'll become viral and they're going to come after me. But this is a problem I've been told in many, many chicken and chip shops. You know the chicken and chip shop that everyone loves, 5 and chips and all of that stuff, right? I went to a shop and it's a famous shop. Famous shop. Okay? And it was in a patch that's very famous in hamlets. And it's a patch that opened until late night. So we happen to need some food provision. Hey, look, this guy's recording one. He's getting ready to finish me. Wallahi al-azim. Me and some friends who are imams as well, we went to this place to eat. We ordered the food and we were told, yeah, this is the best one here. We went there. Yeah, we sat down, placed the order. We're just sitting there. All of a sudden, we see a big fat rat walking out of the kitchen. And yeah, he's walking around the shop. He's not even leaving. He's not going back. That's not what shocked me. What shocked me, the kitchen staff. What do you expect them to do? I would have expected they're going to go crazy. Like, you know, they're like, they're having a laugh. This is when they show me that this is normal. This happens regularly. And the shop owner, he's at the front, the tillman, he's turning around, he's trying to tell them, give them a serious face. He says, listen guys, be serious, whatever he's telling them. But there's like, oh, you know, there's a mouse. And the mouse is doing like proper circuits around. Oh, I ran out. And some people were still inside the shop. To my surprise and shock, one brother was fully munching still. Fully, he was biting into the burger and the mouse is there. And I'm like, everyone shouting. He saw it, like, mouse is there. Khalas, mouse is there. He's not going to eat me and I'm not going to eat it. So I'm going to carry on. I ran out of the shop because it's disgusting to see that. I ran out of the shop. This mouse came out of the shop. Came out of the shop. On the main road, on a very busy road. On this very busy patch that's open until late night. And he walked along the pavement. A few yards down, he does a U-turn. And he's trying to go back into the shop. Do you know what this means? It means he's got family inside. I miss my family going back. And the guys in the shop is like trying to, close the door on it. He's not. But the most absurd part of it is how calm people were and how calm the kitchen staff were. So I voluntarily went to the guy and said, yeah, can you please give me a refund? He said, yeah, that's fine, I'll give you a refund. But other people are just carrying on. And the staff were carrying on. This is disgusting. Wallahi, it's disgusting. If it was any professional, nice, food hygiene shop, if it was like I don't want to be a self-hating Muslim and a self-hating Asian, but wallahi, if it was a professional, like one of them, companies, like professional companies for food and etc., they would say, khalas, branch is closed, we're having a proper investigation, everyone apologies, compensation, whatever, they'll do. But this is what Muslims, us lot, our standards are so low. This is food, this is going to make who you are. You are what you eat, like they say. And this level of hygiene, astaghfirullah, is disgusting. Anyone here okay with rats? Okay, it's disgusting, wallahi. So I was shocked this day. And I said, no more. We left that and went to another place. SubhanAllah. So be careful what you eat. Hygiene is extremely important. And do you know what? The shopkeepers, they get away with it because we let them get away with it. If our standards were high, if we said, you know what, we're not going to go to these kind of shops that are so unclean, then guess what? They would have to improve their standards. But what do we say? No, I'm too addicted to the chicken and chips and I have to go. Okay, you can have your chicken and chips, but maintain a standard, inshallah. in your homes as well. Our homes should not be. Wallahi, I had, but last story, I don't know why I'm saying so many stories today. Last story, I spoke to a brother the other day. He said, nah, he bought a house and he gave it to rent to a family, to an Asian family. And I'm an Asian, so it's fine. I'm not being racist to myself. He gave it to an Asian family. And he went to collect rent or whatever, see the house. The whole floor was packed with rubbish, even babies' nappies were here and there. Astaghfirullah. Where is this? This is disgusting. Allah, hygiene and cleanliness and tahoor this is so important. Being neat and tidy. The Prophet ﷺ had very little commodities, very little assets. But even each one of them, he would look after them. If one of his clothes ripped, he would stitch them himself. He would name his possessions. He would value his possessions. He would honor them. He would even name them. His sword had a name. Right? His camel had a name. They were out of honoring the ni'mah of Allah. Subhanallah. So may Allah give us all understanding and tawfiq, and may Allah give us, grant us heed. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Jazakumullah khairan. Are there any questions?
Maybe it's widespread sometimes, especially with the youngsters these days, that you may see them, they have big mustache, and when you say to them, look, I couldn't even recognize you that you're Muslim, I thought maybe you are Hindu. But I say to you, I'm not following them, it's just style, I'm Muslim and this and that.
Wallahi, you know, akhi, same thing happened to me the other day. I was in the very, very infamous city of Bradford. And then I went to a place for breakfast. And then I saw a brother. I have to see a brother now that I know that he's a Muslim. But I saw two men at the table. One had full-on tattoo and everything. You can't tell he's a Muslim, yani. And there was another non-Muslim, like a white person. I don't know, he could have been Muslim as well. But he was with him. They're having breakfast, so I said, I went inside and I said, hi, is this place, how's the food? Just trying to get a review, because I had my family with me. I wanted to have breakfast and then want to come to London after that. So the guy said, yeah, brother, salam karna hai bhai, you should say salam first. I'm a Muslim brother of yours. What kind of, you're not from Arandia, are you, bro? You know, I don't know, you know how they talk. You're not from Arandia. I'm like, wallah, I'm from London, and you know, I don't know, and I didn't know that, subhanAllah. So I said, assalamu alaikum, because I didn't know. So yes, if you are following action, especially when it comes to even like mustache and beard, if you're following, for example, other religions and their styles, then you have to be very careful. If it's symbolic specifically and clearly, for example, if someone ties up their hair in a way that those people of, for example, the Sikhism people, they do, and if it's symbolic to their religion, then this would not be permitted, because it is specifically solely a symbolic expression of their religiosity. This is tashabbuh, يعني man tashabbaha biqawm. First of all, if you assimilate with the nation with the intention, if it's a shared value, if it's a shared thing, but if it is specifically for them, then you have done tashabbuh of them, of course, without whether you intend or not. And the Prophet ﷺ, we saw the examples of, you know, tashabbuh bil shaitan and tashabbuh bil kuffar, with eating and drinking with the left hand, and shaitan as well. Barakallahu fikum. Are there any other questions? Yes.
So you know how you mentioned about imitating the kuffar. So you know the ta'weez that they wear. It started from the Hindus, and now the people in Bangladesh and Pakistan, they're very common. Does that fall under imitating the kuffar?
So ta'weez is a big mas'ala, because ta'weez, from it is sihr, from it is kufr, from it is shirk, from it is sometimes ayat of the Quran. So that's a separate mas'ala. This would be problematic and prohibited because there is clearly hadith against it. Okay? Now the Prophet ﷺ, whomsoever hangs a tamima has committed shirk. So this is forbidden for other reasons too. Along with that, if someone intended to imitate the kuffar, then this is of course double haram as well. But the ta'weez mas'ala, I wish that there should be more discussion on this topic with nuanced and fair understanding, because there are people of, for example, of certain nationalities, even ulama, scholars, people who have knowledge of the deen of the Quran and Sunnah, they have permitted certain types of ruqya material with Quranic ayat, ahadith, ad'iyah. Okay? And these, sometimes they will hang it on the wall, sometimes they will drink from it. So there has to be a very distinct discussion, an elaborate one, between people of senior level knowledge. To what extent do we come to a balanced understanding of this whole ruqya situation? Because some people who even claim to be doing ruqya from the Quran and Sunnah are also scamming people. They have no idea, they have no ijazah, they have no training, they have no background. All they've done is watch some YouTube videos of how to do ruqya, and they're scamming people. No, wallahi, there's so many scammers out there in the name of ruqya. That's why when someone comes to me for ruqya, I say, first of all, I'm not a raqi. I just know my basic ruqya that I do for myself, for my family, and my children. But if you need ruqya, then go to a ruqya center that has a good track record. There's no other way. What am I supposed to say? Because so many raqis out there. Go to a place where they've got a good track record, they have accountability, they have a location, they're not going to run away tomorrow, they have a training process. So that's what I recommend. Barakallah feekum. Barakallah feekum. Jazakumullah khairan. Subhanakallah wa ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Barakallah feekum. Alaykum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.